The following clip was recorded by a ghost hunter who, along with a friend, decided to explore an abandoned house with a long and unsettling history. Locals say the property has been empty for years after multiple owners moved out suddenly, all reporting the same thing: loud banging at night, objects shifting on their own, and an overwhelming sense of being watched the longer you stayed inside. Despite those warnings, the two decided to investigate after nightfall, hoping to document whatever was still lingering there. Not long into their exploration, something happened that neither of them has been able to explain to this day. Watch closely.
Gel şöyle. Bir daha. Oynuyor mu biz? Allah Allah, bu ne ya? İçeriden ses geliyor, içinden ses geliyor. Onun içinden ses geliyor. Bırak, sen.
A pipe can be seen moving violently on its own, with no visible cause and no one anywhere near it. Many believe this kind of aggressive movement points to a highly charged presence, possibly something reacting to their intrusion. Skeptics argue it could be vibrations or structural instability, but the intensity and timing of the movement make that explanation hard to accept. Until more investigations are done at this location, this remains unsolved. The man in this next video believes something non-human has been living in his house ever since he brought home an old African mask. It started with objects shifting slightly when no one was around, strange knocking sounds at odd hours, and the constant feeling of being watched. But over time, things escalated. He claims items have fallen on their own, shadowy figures have appeared briefly in doorways, and on one terrifying occasion, a knife was flung toward him. What makes it even more disturbing is that the activity doesn't follow a pattern. It happens during the day, in the middle of the night, whenever it wants, almost as if whatever's there doesn't need darkness to move. One night, while sitting in his living room, he suddenly heard a sound coming from the upstairs bathroom, like someone shifting their weight or stepping around inside. Knowing he was alone, he grabbed his phone and slowly headed up. Have a look.
I was just sat on my computer watching the football, and that noise started. Fucking hell. I haven't captured anything for weeks. I've been feeling quite unsettled in this house still, even with the mask on. It's that kind of feeling that someone's watching you. Hello?
If you watch closely, something appears in the bathroom mirror, a dark shape that seems to emerge and then slowly descend out of view. After sharing this footage, he says many people reached out suggesting he try communicating with whatever is causing the disturbances. He since mentioned plans to attempt a Ouija board session to get answers. That idea immediately set off alarm bells for viewers. Many believe Ouija boards don't just invite communication, they invite anything willing to respond. Others warn that attempting contact can strengthen an entity's attachment, especially if it's already showing aggressive behavior. Some even think the mask itself could be a vessel or conduit, and that trying to communicate might make things far worse instead of bringing clarity. So, what do you think? Is using a Ouija board the only way to understand what's happening, or is it the worst possible move when something already feels this hostile? Now this next clip is about Kyle, a guy who's been sharing the unsettling things happening inside his home, things that never seem to stay in one place. First, it started in the crawl space, then it shifted to the attic, later, the garage, and now it's happening in the very room where Kyle sleeps. Kyle says he's heard children laughing in empty hallways, footsteps where no one should be, and objects subtly shifting when his back is turned. What makes it even stranger is that the sounds never repeat in the same spot twice, almost as if whatever this is doesn't want to be tracked. One evening, Kyle was hearing strange voices from his crawl space, so he decided to check, thinking maybe there's something hidden down there, an animal, old wiring, anything that could explain what's been tormenting him. But instead, he captures this. Watch.
If you didn't see that freaky thing in the crawl space, I'm going to slow the video down for you. Now I'm going to play it at normal speed, just looped over and over and over. Whatever that is, it can't be human, because no human can move that fast. I don't know if that's the same thing that I saw in the crawl space the last time that I caught on that security camera when I had that camera down there. I don't know, but it scared the hell out of me. I get a lot of people asking, like, what's the scariest thing that's ever happened in my house? That's got to be up there, but I'm thinking about making a top 5 video and posting that soon. And for the people that have been asking, it's been quiet lately. That's why I haven't been posting. Nothing's been happening. Thankfully, been having a break from all this. So, yep. Hope y'all have a Merry Christmas.
What's unsettling is that Kyle has caught something very similar before, up in his attic. Now he's wondering if this same figure has been moving freely through his home the entire time, slipping between spaces just out of sight. Whatever Kyle caught, it doesn't explain everything, but it does make one thing clear. This activity isn't tied to one location, and Kyle's home may not be as empty as it seems. The following video centers around a man named Steve, who says his experiences with spirits didn't start recently, but all the way back in childhood. Now, 54 years old, Steve believes the activity has intensified, not because something new has attached itself to him, but because it's never actually left. Over the years, he's claimed to hear different voices at different times, some calmly saying their full name, others making random statements that don't seem directed at anyone else in the room. According to Steve, these voices come unexpectedly, sometimes during quiet moments, and other times right in the middle of daily life. Watch and listen closely. At first, many viewers thought the voice was telling the dog to lay down, but when you replay it carefully, others are convinced the words are actually "play dead." What makes this especially unsettling is the dog's immediate reaction. After hearing his story, many believe the spirits may not be following him more now, but that Steve himself may be more open to them. There's a long-standing belief that sensitive individuals become more receptive with age, as their mental and emotional veil thins, making it easier for unexplained phenomena to break through. If that's the case, what Steve is experiencing may not be escalation, but exposure. Whether this is heightened sensitivity, something attached to him, or voices finding an easier way to be heard, one thing is clear. Steve's experiences raise serious questions about how long these presences have truly been around, and what they want now that they're being noticed more than ever. Now, in this next clip, a woman finally captures one of the unsettling things she's been experiencing inside her home. Before this video, she had already shared several disturbing moments, like finding her 6-month-old daughter sitting in front of her bedroom door, giggling, even though there was no possible way the baby could have gotten out on her own. She's also noticed her daughter waving at empty corners saying hi, and becoming visibly afraid of certain spots in the house for no clear reason. One afternoon, while dyeing her hair and casually recording her routine, she unknowingly caught something else on camera. Watch closely. For a lot of parents watching, this hit a nerve, and after reading through the comments, the woman revealed she plans to move out within 2 weeks. Living in a house like this is unsettling enough, but with an infant involved, many agree it's not worth the risk. So what do you think? An overreaction or the right decision? Sometimes you hear people say you should be careful about the toys you buy for your kids, especially secondhand or thrifted ones. And while most people brush that off as superstition, stories like this are exactly why the warnings exist. In this next video, a woman captures something deeply unsettling while her young daughter is quietly playing with one of her dolls. Watch closely. At first glance, it looks harmless, just a child playing. But then the doll's head moves on its own. The mother says the moment she noticed it, her stomach dropped. Some viewers tried to explain it away, suggesting the girl's leg may have nudged the doll. But others strongly disagreed, pointing out that the angle and timing don't line up. Many people began sharing a familiar belief, that the earliest paranormal signs are rarely dramatic. They start small, subtle movements, things you second guess, and when those moments are ignored or dismissed, that's when activity is said to escalate. Negligence, according to them, isn't harmless. It's an invitation. So the real question here isn't whether the doll moved, it's what might have moved with it. Now, in this next clip, the popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian continues his investigation at the Mabel Tainter Memorial Theater. This time, he heads backstage, a place long rumored to be haunted by a former costume designer who once worked tirelessly behind the scenes, leaving behind unfinished work and personal belongings. As Ian moved through the old props and costumes, he suddenly heard an unusual noise.
Anyone back here? I thought I heard something up there. Hello? Let's go up there and find out what it was. Anyone up here? What the hell was that? Hello? You making noise back here? Okay, I think I'm going crazy here. I just heard a woman talking. What the f***? Ma'am? I hear you, but I don't see you. I just want to come say hi. Hello? Oh my god. No way. That sounded like singing. I literally heard that with my own ears. That was in here. Look, there's nobody. What the hell?
The sound was distinct enough to make him stop in his tracks. Heart racing, Ian realized there was no way he could stay in the backstage area any longer, so he immediately left to explore other parts of the building. The lingering question, was it the spirit of the costume designer still attending to her work, or something else entirely? The mystery of the theater continues to draw paranormal enthusiasts, and Ian's experience adds yet another chilling layer to its long history of unexplained phenomena. For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. The following clip is about a family we've talked about on this channel before, and if you remember their story, then you already know things got pretty unsettling the first time around. Here's a quick rundown. It all began on random nights when their daughter would suddenly wake up crying, and while they were trying to calm her down, they'd hear someone knocking on their front door. It went on for several nights until the father finally decided to check. And the moment he opened that door, there was a figure standing right outside. After that encounter, the knocking stopped, but the house wasn't the same. Strange movements, electronics acting up, little things happening that didn't feel like coincidences. They prayed, they waited, and after a few months, the house finally settled. No knocking, no shadows, no disturbances. For a while, it seemed like whatever had shown up that night had moved on. But now, months later, the pattern seems to be starting all over again. Watch this.
Vente, vente, vente. Le están tocando.
Sí. La niña empezó a llorar.
Ya no haga mucho ruido para ver quién es. No prendas. ¿Cómo rápido? Está bien inquieta, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Ya son casi las 3 de la mañana. ¿Dónde están las llaves? Hoy. No se ve. Voy a verlo. Ahí quédate, espérame. No hay nadie. No hay nadie, no hay nadie. No, uy, otra vez. Sin menos. ¿Quién será? No es nadie, Ceci. Yo creo que ya nos subimos a dormir. Ya, vámonos. Vámonos porque igual le voy a enseñar la hora. Siempre pasa lo mismo. Miren, son casi las 3 de la mañana. 25. Siempre hace lo mismo, ¿verdad? Ya vamos a... voy a cerrar otra vez.
This time, they knew better than to open the door. They didn't want to repeat the same mistake, but one night, while his wife was trying to put their baby girl to sleep, the house security camera picked up something they never expected to see. Watch this.
Sí, mira, quiero que observes bien este video y me digas qué te parece. Puede ser cualquier cosa, pudo ser una persona, pero realmente con seguridad no te sé qué decir. Observa los movimientos de mi hija de 4 meses, como ya está casi dormida y ahorita en un ratito como que se altera. El video no tiene audio, así que por eso se lo estoy relatando. Vean ahí cómo se alteró mi hija y ve directamente hacia el portón. Miren, ahí está observando, ahí se asomó algo. Vean eso. Vean lo extraño que el color de piel que tiene eso, vean. Y mi hija ahí está alterada y si se dan cuenta, no deja de mirar hacia el portón. Vean, mi hija está mirándolo. Ahí se volteó y eso se desvaneció. Bastante extraño.
If you take a good look at the footage, the little girl is completely calm at first, just resting, until something shifts. Out of nowhere, she gets upset and she starts crying, like she's reacting to something we can't see. And if you look at the door, a faint figure seems to be peeking inside. The father said he couldn't place the shape at all, and what made it worse is that he never saw anything walk away. 1 second the figure was there, and the next, it wasn't. No footsteps, no movement, no shadows trailing off. Just there, then gone. And with everything they've experienced before, people began to wonder if this was the same presence that stood outside their door months ago, or if something completely new had entered the picture. Then, around 2 a.m., their daughter started crying again. But this time, it wasn't the knocking, it was something far worse. Proof that whatever they'd been dealing with wasn't outside anymore. It was inside the house. Have a look.
No digas mamadas. No. ¿Qué dijo? ¿Eh? ¿Qué dijo? No mames, güey. Se me va a apagar. Está hablando. No, güey. No, la verga. No mames, no chingues. Se puso feo. Raza. Se puso feo, les dije. No mames, güey.
It didn't take long before the knocking returned too, and when it came back, it wasn't random or occasional anymore. It happened every single night, like something determined, something trying to wear them down. Imagine living with that, knowing it's coming, knowing you can't stop it, and counting down the seconds until it starts again. Eventually, even though he knew exactly what happened the last time, he started opening doors, but only the doors inside. And what happened next felt like going from bad to something much worse, almost like stepping out of the frying pan and straight into the fire. Watch.
No sé si se escuche. Oigan, como si estuvieran en la parte de enfrente. No mames. Son las 2 de la mañana. Uy, cabrón. Voy a buscar las llaves. No mames, está acá enfrente, ¿eh? Uy, uy. Bien, como... No mames. Ah, cabrón. No mames, cabrón.
The activities in the house escalated after that night, but this time the knocking didn't stop. And you know what they say. When the knocking refuses to end, it usually means whatever is outside isn't trying to leave, it's trying to come in. And in situations like this, people believe persistent knocking is a sign that the presence has grown stronger, more intentional, almost desperate for access. It got so bad that it began waking the entire family every single night. At this point, they started to believe that not opening the main door wasn't protecting them from anything, because strange things were still happening inside the house even on nights they kept the door shut. But at least if they open it, the knocking would stop for a few hours, just enough peace to reach the morning. So reluctantly, they fell into a routine. Every time the knocking returned, the father would open the door just to make it stop, until one night he walked toward the entrance expecting the same pattern, but instead saw something deeply unsettling. Watch this.
Johnny. Johnny. Johnny. Johnny, están tocando.
¿Ah?
Están tocando.
¿Quién es?
Nadie, no sé. Duérmete, mamá.
¿Están tocando?
Sí.
Ah, sí, no manches.
Escucha.
Otra vez, güey, a ver. Dame, a ver, aguanta. Espérame aquí, aguántame.
Sí, me fijé.
Otra vez. Son las 3 de la mañana, gente. Son casi las 3 de la mañana. ¿Qué quieres? ¿Qué es lo que quieres? Deja de molestar. Quiero que te largues. ¿Qué es eso? Oh, no manches. Oh, no manches. Ceci.
This wasn't a neighbor, this wasn't a prank. What he saw looked dark and full of intent, the kind of thing that doesn't accidentally show up at your door. And when you connect this moment to everything else, the figure peeking inside the house, the child crying at unseen things, the sudden electronic malfunctions, the rocking chair moving on its own, the doll moving, it all begins to feel like one presence that finally revealed its true form. Now the family is actively seeking help from anyone who can make sense of all this. But while they search for answers, the knocking hasn't stopped. They still open the door sometimes, but now with extreme caution, because they never know what might be standing there.
Mira.
Sí, es cierto.
Y el chiquito no.
Mira, no mames.
Ya, yo voy grabando, yo voy grabando.
Tranquila, tranquila. Ven. ¿Quién anda ahí?
To make matters worse, the electricity in the house hasn't been the same since the night they saw that strange figure. Lights flicker, appliances glitch, and even their older kid is getting tired of living in a place that feels more haunted with every passing night. In the next clip they posted, things took a turn none of them were prepared for. What used to happen strictly at night, the knocking, the footsteps, the strange movements, suddenly began happening in broad daylight. Objects would shift from one spot to another, heavy thudding footsteps, as if someone unseen was walking up the stairs, and random items in the house kept going missing only to reappear in odd places. Then one afternoon, the father captured something on camera that left both viewers and investigators genuinely alarmed. Watch this.
¿Estás escuchando?
Sí.
Vente. Son las 2 de la tarde, se está manifestando algo. Tengo que decir que no hay nadie. Estoy completamente solo. No manches. Se acaba de abrir la puerta del cuarto. Este cuarto, pues nadie lo habita. Estoy solamente con mi hijo de 8 años. Vente, Neto, no te quedes. Se vio claramente cómo se abrió la puerta sola y no hay ni viento. De hecho, está cerrada la ventana, todo está cerrado. No, vámonos.
Even with every window shut and all doors locked, one door slowly opened on its own, like someone on the inside had gently pushed it. Many believe this was a sign the presence inside the home has grown comfortable, too comfortable, almost as if it no longer cares to hide its movements. Others think letting it in that very first night might have given it access it never should have had, and now it's roaming the entire house freely, crossing boundaries it once respected. And things have only gotten worse night after night. The family is so desperate that viewers have sent their clips to paranormal experts, hoping someone can offer answers or at least a solution to stop the constant fear they're living in. But while they wait for help, every day and every night brings a new disturbance. One night, it sounded like someone was in the kitchen, loud enough that the husband thought an intruder might have broken in. But when he went to check, this is what he found.
Oye, voy a ir a bajar,
Sí, ve a checar qué es.
Voy a ver, ahí quédate con la niña.
Sí.
Hasta se despertó, ¿va?
Sí.
No hay nadie. Por lo regular siempre se escucha como si hubiera alguien ahí en la cocina. Se escuchaba que estaban jugando con los trastes, como si estuvieran botando cosas, así bastante fuerte. Lo primero que pensé es que se habían metido a la casa. Mierda. ¿Qué hacen esos sartenes botados? Miren. Empieza a sentir un escalofrío en esta parte bastante fuerte. Voy a levantar esto. Miren cómo estaba colgado esto. Ay. ¿Qué es lo que quieres? Lárgate de aquí. ¿Por qué nos molestas? Oh, madre de Dios. ¿Qué es eso que se escucha? Lárgate de aquí. No mames, güey. Hey, la sangre de Cristo tiene poder. Sea lo que sea, no perteneces aquí. Lárgate. Necesitamos ayuda, por favor. Esto se está saliendo de control, amigos. ¿Qué es eso?
Pans scattered all across the floor, and before he could even finish placing them back, something else happened. Sudden, sharp, and terrifying. Almost like the presence wanted to make sure he knew he wasn't alone in that kitchen. At this point, whatever is haunting this home is no longer subtle, no longer shy, no longer hiding in the shadows. It's active, bold, and possibly growing stronger. And before this turns into something violent, the family is pleading for help, hoping someone can intervene before things get even worse. Now, in this next clip, the popular ghost hunter Ian went deep into the Minnesota woods, and on this particular night, he was making his way toward an isolated cemetery rumored to be one of the most haunted places in the entire region. He was completely alone out there, and even he admitted that he was starting to freak out.
Okay. I'm coming towards you, whoever you are. I hear somebody walking up and down this trail. Could you walk towards me?
Oh my god! Holy shit! Oh my god!
I'm sorry. You almost gave me a heart attack. I know I asked you to do that, but damn. Holy moly, I didn't think you were gonna actually do it.
Vicksburg Cemetery sat hidden in the wilderness, untouched, overgrown, and swallowed by trees. Local legend claimed that one gravestone in particular would glow at night, and that every spring it sprouted fresh flowers that dripped what looked like blood. It was the kind of place that felt unsettling even in daylight. And yet, because it was Ian, he chose to spend the entire night there anyway. The place had the kind of heavy stillness you'd expect from a cemetery buried deep in the woods, but as he walked around with his flashlight sweeping through the darkness, he saw something that stopped him. One entire grave had been left in total shambles. Stone cracked apart, soil disturbed, like something had forced its way out or clawed its way in. And in typical Ian fashion, instead of backing away, he tried communicating with whatever spirit might still be lingering there.
Gosh. This whole grave is in shambles. I'm sorry that your tombstone has been destroyed. What happened? Is it vandalized? Whoa. Okay, I just heard you.
At this moment, a woman's whisper intelligently responds to my question.
In my left hand, I have a green light. It won't harm you in any way. All it will simply do is detect your presence. If you're still here, could you tell me your name? Because unfortunately there's really no way for me to tell. I really don't want to dig around your grave shambles, because I don't want to damage it any further. You don't have to be shy, ma'am. As I said, I'm just here to visit. I'm here with nothing but respect. I'm getting eaten up by mosquitoes right now, but that's okay. It's worth it. If I could just hear your voice one more time. Whoa. Thank you. Oh my gosh. I heard that. I heard you once again. Whoa, you just drained my battery too. Dang, dude. All right. I'm gonna review this when I get home, and I'll know your message.
Later, after reviewing his footage, he realized that the voice captured on camera sounded like it was saying the word foreign. That one detail bothered him enough to dig deeper, and when he researched the grave, he found out it belonged to a woman named Vesta Black Davis, buried alone with no family members anywhere near her. A sad and lonely revelation, but it raised an even darker question. If no one visited her and no one cared for the site, then why was her grave the only one shattered? For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. The following clip was captured inside the Old Gila County Jail in Globe, Arizona, widely considered one of the most haunted locations in the state. Since its closure in 1981, the jail has become a hotspot for paranormal investigations and has even appeared on shows like Ghost Adventures and Ghost Hunters. One of the jail's most disturbing stories centers around a former inmate whose life ended inside his cell in 1911 while he was awaiting trial for the drowning of 2 young girls. In the days leading up to his death, he claimed the spirits of those girls were visiting him, tormenting him inside his cell. To this day, visitors report sudden drops in temperature, an overwhelming sense of dread, and faint sobbing near his former cell in cell block B. Over the years, guests and investigators have also reported being touched, scratched, or pushed by unseen forces, along with disembodied voices, unexplained footsteps, and loud bangs echoing through the 2nd floor. On this particular night, a group of investigators set up a camera at the foot of one of the staircases. Watch closely.
I hear something in here now. Whatever it is, you have to have got it on this mind. Yep, oh, I guarantee we do. Just hold on, worry about it.
This voice is impressive on its own, but what makes it even more compelling is that one of our 2 investigators talking at the top of the stairs, discussing their worry about the rain, caught the same voice from one of their cameras. Take a listen.
Here, Riley? Yeah.
We let this video extend a bit longer to give you a comparison of the 3 voices heard in this clip, our 2 investigators' voices, and the 3rd disembodied voice. To add to the mystery surrounding these stairs, less than 2 hours later, another camera at the top of these stairs automatically shuts itself off. Our team hurried to figure out what happened to the camera, realizing that we need to fix this unknown issue downstairs at base camp. This is what happened. After going through over 3 hours of footage, listening through the heavy rain and natural echoes through the prison, this voice is only heard twice. What are your thoughts?
Some believe it may be connected to the inmate whose restless presence is said to linger near the upper floors, while others think it could be something even older tied to the jail itself. It's moments like this that remind people why the old Gila County Jail continues to be an enigma, one that refuses to give up its secrets. Now this next clip comes from a guy named Chris, who regularly explores abandoned buildings with long, often unsettling histories. In this particular video, he's inside one of those locations alone, documenting the space when something strange is caught on camera. Watch closely.
Did you hear that? That was loud.
At first, there's a loud bang that echoes through the building, sharp enough to make him freeze. Almost immediately after, you can see something shift in the frame, subtle but unmistakable. Chris later explains that in that exact moment, it felt like someone reached out and grabbed him by the shoulder. When this video surfaced, reactions were split. Viewers unfamiliar with Chris and his work were quick to dismiss it as post-production editing or a staged effect. But longtime followers pointed out that Chris doesn't usually sensationalize his footage, and that abandoned structures like this are often unpredictable, both structurally and otherwise. Whether it was something physical, something paranormal, or just a moment caught at the worst possible time, one thing is clear: whatever happened in that building left Chris visibly shaken. And for many who've explored places like this before, that reaction says more than the footage itself. In the following video, a man says he's been dealing with a persistent and unsettling feeling that someone is inside his house with him, and whenever that feeling hits, it's not subtle. His chest suddenly feels heavy, like the air around him has thickened, making it hard to breathe normally. He describes it as a pressure that comes out of nowhere, usually late at night when the house is quiet. One night, that same feeling returned. Instead of brushing it off, he picked up his phone, hoping to finally catch whoever or whatever was causing it. But what he ended up recording was something he didn't expect at all. Watch closely. After seeing this, he says he's now convinced that something is moving freely inside his home, aware of his presence, but careful about when it reveals itself. Some viewers believe this could explain the physical sensations he's been feeling, suggesting that intense fear or stress can manifest as chest pressure when someone senses danger. paranormal investigators often approach situations like this in different ways. Some believe acknowledging the presence gives it strength, while others suggest setting firm boundaries, cleansing the space, or even temporarily leaving the home to break whatever attachment may exist. And then there are those who say that when your instincts keep warning you, when your body reacts before your mind does, it's not something to ignore. Because sometimes when your gut tells you you're not alone, it might already be too late to pretend otherwise. This next video is about Kyle, who has been living in this house for about a year and a half, and whatever is happening there has never stayed in one place. The activity seems to move freely through the home, starting in the crawl space, then shifting to the attic, later the garage, and now even the rooms where he sleeps. Kyle reports hearing children laughing in empty hallways, objects shifting when no one is near them, and sudden noises that don't repeat in the same location twice. Hoping to find a logical source, Kyle decides to check the attic himself, thinking maybe there's something hidden or overlooked that could explain everything. But what he finds only raises more questions. Watch.
Shit. Oh my God. Shit. Damn it. I'm hearing voices up here again. Yo. There's like a little kid laughing. Surely you heard that. Oh man, it's getting funny at this point. What the heck? I think some of y'all are right. I think ever since I put that ornament that I found up here on the Christmas tree, things have been a little wild. Happy holidays, I guess. Okay, maybe it's time to get out of here. I thought I was going to come up here and look around, see if I could find anything else, but we might have to... Maybe I just need to get a friend to come with me or something. Yeah, we'll see about that.
At first, Kyle believes he's only hearing voices, but if you look closely, a figure appears to be standing completely still directly in front of him. Some viewers also point out faint orbs drifting through the frame, and combined with the voices, many believe the attic was already fully active before Kyle ever stepped inside. Whether this is a single entity moving through the house or something far more complex, one thing is clear: the activity in Kyle's home isn't slowing down. Now in this next video, a man shares footage that many viewers say proves that renovating a house doesn't erase whatever energy is already there. Here's a bit of background. The house was originally built in 1949 and has gone through several renovations over the years. At the time this video was recorded, it was still occupied by an elderly woman, and the man in the clip would regularly come by to carry out remodeling work. But according to him, every time he stepped into the house, something felt off. He described sudden cold spots, the uneasy feeling of being watched, and no matter how long he stayed, he never felt fully alone. One day, while working in the basement, something happened right in front of him. Watch. Viewers were quick to point out that there's no obvious explanation for how it shifts the way it does. Some believe the age of the house plays a role, that decades of lived experiences, emotions, and unresolved events can leave something behind, especially in places like basements where energy is said to linger. Others think the activity could be tied to the former owner herself, or even the tension surrounding the home. Shortly after this was recorded, the elderly woman was moved into a nursing home and the house was put up for sale. According to the man, the family had already begun arguing over money and her will, creating even more unrest around the property. Whether it's residual energy from the past, something attached to the house itself, or just another unexplained moment caught on camera, this home seems to carry more than just its history, and whatever moved that chair may not be finished making its presence known. In this next clip, a family was settling in for the night, watching a horror movie called The Deliverance, a film inspired by the real-life 2011 Demon House case of LaToya Ammons in Gary, Indiana. Everything felt normal at first, just another scary movie night, until the atmosphere inside the house began to change. Right in the middle of the film, the power suddenly went out in the parlor. Almost immediately after, the family felt a heavy shift in the room, the unmistakable sensation that someone had just walked into the living room with them. Panicked, they went to their rooms, hoping whatever it was would stop there. But whatever entered the house that night wasn't finished. Watch.
Oh, hell no! Bro, stop. Bro, what the? Oh, hell no, you gotta go.
After this encounter, the family swore off horror movies completely. Many viewers believe films based on real events can stir up fear, emotion, and attention, things that some say act like an invitation. Others argue it's a coincidence, that the tension from the movie simply heightened their senses. But there are also those who warn that once something makes itself known, it doesn't always leave on its own. The real concern now is whether this was a one-time incident, or the beginning of something that plans to come back when the house goes quiet again. What do you think? Now, in this next video, a family's dog has been acting strangely, and what it reacts to has left viewers uneasy. Watch closely. The dog is clearly seeing something no one else can see, but two details immediately stand out. First, the family doesn't seem overly concerned. They brush it off, suggesting the dog is simply acting out or responding to a random noise. And second, when the dog becomes more agitated, they shush it, a moment that made many viewers uncomfortable. A lot of people believe animals sense changes in their environment long before humans do, especially when it comes to unfamiliar presences or sudden shifts in energy. What makes this even stranger is that only one dog reacts. So, what do you think? An overreactive pet? Or the only one in the house paying attention? Now, in this next clip, the popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian continues his solo exploration through the haunted buildings of Bonanzaville. Still inside the mansion, he enters one particular bedroom that many visitors say feels different from the rest. This is the room where people have reported seeing an imprint on the bed, as if someone is lying there even when the room is empty. It's also believed to be the very room where the mansion's owner, David, passed away. Watch closely.
Well, doesn't really look like it. David, did you die in this room? I heard you died of a brain hemorrhage, and I'm very, very sorry to hear that. Are you the one that leaves the imprint on the pillow? Could you do it right now? What the heck heck is that? What is that? Mom? Somebody downstairs? What the heck is that? It's like a jingling sound. What the heck is that? It's down there.
After leaving the room, Ian starts hearing unexplained sounds coming from downstairs. As he follows the sound, he captures something even more unsettling.
Wait a minute. Look at that. Dude, those things are freaking moving.
Oh, hell no. Hell no. How is that even possible? Look at that. You're freaking moving like crazy.
And that's our seance table. That's even more terrifying. Oh, God. How is that even happening? There's no air in here or anything. Oh, God. Look at that. They're still moving. Oh, what? Dude, this camera just died.
The crystals on the lamp begin swaying back and forth aggressively, far more than a draft or vibration could explain. What makes this moment even stranger is what happens next. As Ian approaches the table, both of his cameras suddenly die, despite showing full battery just moments earlier. Almost immediately, Ian begins to feel lightheaded, overwhelmed, and uneasy, sensations many investigators associate with intense paranormal encounters. Realizing something may not want him there anymore, Ian makes the decision to leave the mansion. Was this a warning, or something following him all along? You decide. For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. The following video is an update from Rosanna, the woman who refuses to give up on her house. Sadly, many of the priests she's reached out to recently have stopped responding, saying there's nothing more they can do. So after getting rejected by several others, she decided to take a break and travel to her mother's place. But while there were no unusual knockings, voices, or moving objects like before, one thing still didn't stop. She kept waking up in different rooms, with no memory of how she got there. After a few weeks, she decided to go back home and try the whole find a solution thing all over again. But this is what welcomed her. Watch.
Right.
As soon as she arrived, the dishes exploded right before her eyes, before she could even bring out her phone to record. Then, the craziest thing happened. The mannequin head slowly turned on its own, facing directly toward her. Moments later, she said she felt something breathing down her neck, and when she whispered "stop," a voice answered, "No." Some people believe something in that house wants her gone, like whatever's there knows she's been trying to banish it, and it's fighting back. A few days after this happened, she revealed what made her leave the house for a long period in the first place. One night while she was asleep, she decided to put on her camera, hoping to finally catch herself leaving her room and walking into another. Because somehow every morning she wakes up in a different place with no memory of how she got there. But instead of capturing that, something else happened that night. Watch this. waking up to find out a terrifying face had been watching you while you slept. That's not something anyone would ever want to discover. But what makes it worse are the strange gestures she was making in her sleep. Gestures she doesn't remember at all. No memory, no control, just movement. Almost like something else was borrowing her body for a while. Seeing this, people started coming up with new theories. Some say what's inside that house is trying to possess her but can't because of her faith, so it manifests through her sleep instead. Others believe the spirit is trapped within her and only reveals itself when she's most vulnerable, like when she's asleep and unaware. A few even claim she's become a vessel for whatever resides in that house, that maybe it's not the house that's haunted anymore, maybe it's her, but it doesn't end there. It's not just the figures watching her while she sleeps. Sometimes she hears a voice imitating her cat, trying to lure her into a corner or another room, and when she follows it, this happens.
Loli. Laisse-moi. Loli. Oui, Loli.
The figure stood silently in front of the door for what felt like forever, while Rosanna hid under a table, trying to call her friends for help. But by the time anyone arrived, the house was completely still and silent, almost like nothing had happened at all. At this point, Rosanna says she's done trying. She's checked into a hotel indefinitely until she can find a new place to live. And honestly, can you blame her? After all the sleepless nights, the fear, the money she spent trying to get help, anyone would break. But while at the hotel, she found a forgotten clip from a few weeks back, one she'd filmed while testing a projector for her kids. She was alone, preparing to send them a video message when she heard a noise coming from the fireplace. Watch this.
Celui qui devant sous l'abri du trio repose en nom puissant. Je tire Rosanna later explained that every time she prays or plays a religious song, whatever's inside that house reacts violently, almost like it hates it. And in this clip, you can hear it clearly, a voice saying, "Shut up." Also, the music wasn't even playing until she picked up the cross, and the moment she did, it was like something in the room snapped. Things began to move violently, and then her body stiffened. Her head began spinning uncontrollably, and her skin burned like fire. It felt as if the house itself was fighting back. Some say it's because the entity inside her home is demonic, feeding on her resistance. She also shared one particular night when she decided to communicate with whatever or whoever, was in her house. At the time, she said the entire place was filled with a strong, foul smell she couldn't trace. No leaks, no spoiled food, nothing that explained it. It just appeared heavy, suffocating, and constant. So she took out some protective stones, ones a friend had told her might help, though she admitted she had no idea if she was even using them right. Watch what happened.
Je suis frigorifiée. Et il y a cette odeur-là, de pourriture. Je sais qu'il est là. Tant pis. Qui es-tu? Qui es-tu? Allez. Allez, dis. Qui es-tu?
According to Rosanna, this wasn't the first time it had hurt her. She's been slapped, scratched, and even bitten before, and she's got the scars to prove it. But what happened that night took things to a different level. Even though she doesn't have a baby at home, the whole experience that day was something new and deeply disturbing. And to make things worse, when she tried turning on her hallway light, the switch wouldn't work. It had been working perfectly that morning. Somehow, it just stopped, right when she needed it most. She decided to post the clip, mostly because some viewers had been accusing her of quitting. But for someone who's been bitten, slapped, and mocked by something unseen, how do you not quit? When you start living through something like this, do you keep pushing for answers, or is that the moment you accept it's already beyond your control? Well, that wasn't all that happened that night. Watch this.
Arrête. Arrête. Oh Dieu. C'est quoi?
The laughter, that awful mocking laugh that echoed through her hallway. It's the kind of sound that makes your blood run cold, and it didn't stop there. Her YouTube was still playing in the background because she'd been listening to spiritual music before she started attempting to communicate with whatever was present in her house. Now, while she's trying to enjoy some peace at her hotel, she's been sharing these old clips as a way to explain why she stepped away, to show people that she didn't give up. She simply couldn't keep going. And really, can anyone blame her? So, what exactly is she dealing with here? A demon? An angry spirit still claiming the home as its own? Or something else entirely? Something darker, older, and far beyond what any of us can understand? You decide. Now, in this next clip, a lady who's always complained about hearing footsteps on her stairs finally caught something on camera. Watch. Aside from the footsteps, the only thing she noticed at first were faint orbs, drifting softly like dust but moving with strange intention. It kept happening like this for weeks at random hours of the night, until one night, it wasn't just footsteps and orbs anymore. Watch.
The stairs are going again.
You can clearly see something moving slowly on the stairs. And for the first time, it wasn't just about the stairs. The chair in the corner moved right in front of her eyes. That was the moment she began to realize this might not be something simple or harmless. Many people believe she's dealing with an elderly spirit, perhaps someone who once lived there but never truly left. Others, however, have a different take. Some think it's not a ghost at all, but a residual echo, a kind of time imprint, where moments from the past replay over and over like a broken record, overlapping with our world in faint fragments. A few even suggested that what she's capturing might be a looped memory of the house itself, reanimating movements that belong to someone long gone. But whatever it is, it's getting worse, and now it's not just the stairs. It's starting to interrupt her sleep. One night around 2:47 a.m., this woke her up. Some say that step marks a threshold between the living and the dead, a point where energy gets trapped. Others argue it's a mimic, something pretending to be human, copying footsteps to lure attention before revealing its true form. But here's where the debate gets creepy. A few viewers pointed out something subtle. The sound pattern of the footsteps isn't consistent with a human stride. The rhythm is slightly off, as if whatever's climbing those stairs is learning how to walk. But until we get more updates on the situation, this one remains a mystery. In the following video, a guy is making a quick video to show his sister's fiance just how creepy the crematorium where he works can get after hours. What starts as a casual walkthrough quickly turns into something far more disturbing. Watch this.
Lights, they turn off automatically at a certain hour. And I'll tell you right now, I'm gonna walk you through now. I have a friend that works that he would see and hear things coming from these furnaces when they're burning the bodies. So when I'm walking through here, they usually put the urns out to send to the families. So when I'm walking here at night, I walk right by these urns that they put on these tables here. And then I come down, freaking out. This is crazy.
Now, crematoriums already carry a heavy atmosphere. The energy there is said to linger, trapped between the living and the dead. Some even believe places like this can absorb emotions, grief, pain, fear, and release them in strange ways. Others think the constant contact with the deceased could make it easier for spirits to attach themselves to the living, especially workers who spend long nights alone. Now, back to the guy in this video. He's convinced there's a ghost haunting this crematorium, and until someone gives him a better explanation for what he saw, he's not budging from that theory. So what do you think? Paranormal encounter, or something else? You decide. Now, this next video was captured at around 3:15 in the morning, and after what happened, there was no way the guy could go back to sleep. Watch this.
Estaba por entrar a mi casa, son 3:15 de la mañana, y la luz empieza a ser así, no sé. Sinceramente siento que hay alguien acá. No sé por qué lo presiento. Si te querés mostrar, mostrate ahora. Hay alguien sentado ahí. Hay alguien sentado. Mostrate.
Only people who've woken up to the sound of something unexplainable can truly relate to the kind of terror this brings. That feeling of being watched, of knowing you're not alone. And for this guy, it's not a one-time event. Strange things keep happening in his home, often at the same exact hour, like something's deliberately choosing that time to make itself known. But many who followed his story were relieved to find out it wasn't the Teddy this time. The same Teddy that's moved on its own in several of his earlier videos. But that only made people wonder, what if it was never the Teddy? What if whatever's in his home simply uses different objects to get his attention? Or worse, to toy with him? Some say he's dealing with a spirit that feeds off fear, while others think something darker might be attached to the house itself. Until he shares another update, what's really tormenting him remains a mystery. In the following clip, a woman named Jess shares a chilling story, one that's been haunting her for over a decade. Jess lost a close friend named Derek 13 years ago, and ever since then, he's never really left. No matter where she moves, strange things follow. Lights flickering, footsteps in empty rooms, objects shifting on their own. And in her new home, one she moved into just a few months ago, it seems Derek has somehow found her again. Watch this.
Mary, what? He's doing it again. He's doing it again. Mary, he's doing it again. Derek! Hey, Derek! I know you're dude. Derek! Derek! I'm talking to you, man. Stop me, dude. Calm down, Jessica. It's okay. It's okay. Calm down. It's just Derek. It's just Derek. Hey, Derek. Hey, Derek. What you doing, buddy? I miss you. Derek. What are you doing, buddy? You know I love you. You know I love you. Hey, Derek. Come on, you dumb... What the f...
Now, a lot of people believe Jess might be unknowingly holding on to something that once belonged to Derek, something personal that's keeping his spirit tethered to her. Others think Derek could be trying to communicate, perhaps trying to deliver a message she's missed for over 13 years, something that, once understood, might finally allow him to move on. But not everyone agrees. Some say she's making a dangerous mistake, that what she's experiencing isn't Derek at all, but something pretending to be him, using her grief to gain her trust. A few even suggested she check her attic, where energies tend to gather in old houses, and when she finally did, this is what she found.
Y'all wanted me to come up to the attic, okay? This is the wall that y'all saw some shit on. And these are the stairs. Like, my husband has all his clothes, of course. But if you look up there, there's no windows. I'm not going all the way up there because it scares the shit out of me. There's no windows. There's a sofa, some mirrors, a chair, his clothes, but there's no windows up here, okay? There's nothing up here that would have done anything. See? No window. No window. No windows. Nothing. Absolutely nothing up here. Other than like his toolboxes and a chair. I'm not going up here because it's too scary for me. But there are some mirrors, which is weird for an attic. A fan. See, there's no windows. This is my attic. There's nothing up here that could have done that shit. Alright, I'm getting the out of here because it feels weird.
So, is Jess truly being visited by the spirit of her old friend? Or something else wearing his face to keep her believing? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one. Now, in this next clip, we're looking at footage captured inside a daycare in East Tennessee, one that used to be an old church before it was converted. Watch this.
The video I'm about to show you is very disturbing. I'm just gonna let it play for you and then I'll give you the background.
See? Lights go off. Now watch. You're going to see.
What you just saw was security footage that was sent to me by a woman who worked at a daycare in East Tennessee, Appalachia region. This daycare is actually a very old church that was turned into like a private daycare school. She said that events leading up to this, she was kind of having some weird experiences where she would be in her office after hours and would hear like people walking down the stairs, and then she would go check the stairwell and nobody would be there, or she would hear noises coming from classrooms and open up the door and see nothing. She said she would be the only one on the property at this time because she was in charge of like opening the daycare center, and then she would often stay after hours. So nobody was in the building when she was hearing these noises. On this particular day, she was opening the daycare. She went in that door that you saw at the end of the hall and noticed there was an iPad laying on the ground. This was really odd to her because these iPads are put into this like cabinet area that are hooked on like chargers. And she said they're very secure and they're like sitting up on charging decks, if that makes sense. She thought maybe an intruder came in or something, so she immediately notified the security officer who came and checked the camera footage. And that is the camera footage that you saw. Literally, the way that iPad just flings out of that cabinet is giving me chills right now. In the beginning, I feel like I also saw some kind of an orb object, but I've watched this video so many times and I feel like it's just unexplainable. Tell me what you saw in the video, if you saw the orbs like I did, or if you noticed anything else that's odd, and leave in the comments if you have any weird experiences like this.
The way that iPad flew across the room is hard to wrap your head around. Now here's a bit of context. The woman who shared this video works at the daycare and said there had been a series of strange occurrences long before this day. She'd often stay late in her office and hear what sounded like footsteps coming down the old wooden stairs, only to find no one there. Other times, faint noises would come from the classrooms after hours, toys rattling, drawers opening, whispers she couldn't quite make out. On the morning this footage was recorded, she arrived early and found one of the iPads lying on the floor. Now, she's the one who usually opens the daycare, so at that time, the building should have been completely empty, the iPads locked away in a cabinet as usual. Thinking it might have been a break-in, she called security. Omen people believe it's residual energy from when the building was still a church, that maybe the spirits of those who once gathered there never really left. Others think the conversion of the sacred space might have disturbed something that didn't want to be moved, but what do you think really happened inside that old daycare? In this next clip, a woman was walking down a quiet street late at night when her camera picked up something she couldn't explain. Watch.
Or the sub for you is going to be more. Everything's going up, but our wages aren't going up. Because I'm still seeing wages that are fucking pitiful on Indeed. Oh yay, I can make the same amount of money I made when I was out of high school, you know? Looks like there was a figure just standing right there. That's so crazy. I think it was my own shadow. That happens way too often.
At first glance, it looks like nothing more than a shadow, but take a closer look. The outline, the faint movement, and those glowing eyes staring straight at her. Some viewers think she may have caught a shadow figure, a manifestation often linked to dark energy or spiritual unrest. Others believe it's something far more physical, a creature that thrives in the dark, staying just beyond our understanding. There could be many other explanations for what she saw, like a trick of the light, an animal, or maybe something else entirely. But the idea that it could be something aware of her presence is what makes this clip so unsettling. Because if figures like this can move freely among us, unnoticed and unbothered, it makes you wonder what else is out there when the streets go quiet. So, what do you think she captured that night? And do you believe that some things walk among us, some seen and others we were never meant to see? Now, in this next clip, a woman named Keys has been dealing with strange activity in her home, the kind that keeps her up at night. But this time, she finally managed to catch something on camera. Watch this.
What is happening right now? First the door was moving, then I heard like talking, and then I keep seeing shadows. And for anyone telling me that I should go out there, yeah, why don't you go out there, please? Oh, it just opened and shut right in front of me. Oh man, I wish I could. Holy shit! Holy shit! Holy shit! I'm freaking out. And before anyone comes at me, it's freaking the middle of October in Pennsylvania. It's freezing out, so I have no windows open. I have one fan that circulates throughout the whole room, and that door has never done that. Like, it's moved on its own, but never just like slammed shut like that. I can't believe I just caught that on camera. What the actual believe I just caught that. And of course I'm alone. Yay me. Fun times.
Whatever that was, it's not the first time she's seen it. Keyes says things like this have been happening for months. Objects moving on their own, lights flickering even when the power's stable, and that unsettling feeling that someone's standing right behind her when no one is there. She's tried everything from cleansing rituals to changing rooms, but nothing seems to stop it. And now, after this footage, she's starting to wonder if whatever's haunting her house might be getting stronger. If you've ever experienced something similar, drop your thoughts below. What did you do to make it stop? Because at this point, Keyes is running out of ideas and courage. Now, in this next clip, the popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian visits one of Nebraska's most haunted locations, the Argo Hotel. This place has a long and unsettling history. Years ago, when it was still a sanatorium, a woman named Alice reportedly died during childbirth in the basement. Since then, people say her spirit never left. They hear her crying softly in the hallways at night, sometimes calling for her baby. But here's the disturbing part. During renovations, workers found skeletal remains of an infant sealed inside one of the walls. Many believe it was Alice's child, and she's not the only one said to haunt this place. Guests staying in room 1 often complain about their blankets being tugged off in the middle of the night, or waking up to the sound of faint breathing right beside them. On November 28, 2024, Ian decided to spend the night alone inside the Argo Hotel, hoping to capture proof of what's really happening here. Watch.
That sounded like a lady's voice, right there. I swear to God, I just heard that right behind me. Alice, is that you? She's that ghostly woman that they see wandering around. Could you say something again? I don't know if I'm just losing it, but I swear to God I heard that. I'm not hearing anything else. It's dead quiet. Alice, was that you I just heard? Whoa. There's something standing right over there. It was right behind that couch. There was something literally standing in that photo. It was like a mist or something. But I'm not seeing it anymore. It's completely gone.
So was that Alice still wandering these halls, or something else entirely? For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. The following video was recorded on the same day Kyle's crawlspace woke him up yet again. For weeks, he'd been hearing strange noises coming from underneath the house. Soft knocks, shuffling, and the kind of slow dragging sounds that make you question whether something living, or something else entirely, is down there. But this time, the noise was loud enough to pull him straight out of bed. He grabbed a flashlight, went into the crawlspace to check, and saw a dark figure standing completely still in the far corner, almost as if it had been waiting for him. Later that night, things escalated. Watch.
What the fuck? Shit. What the fuck? Yo, my house is going crazy tonight. Shit. It's going crazy. This is the crawlspace thing just happened. It just happened. I'm sure I'm going to be posting that. And now the lights are just going crazy. What the... And my freaking flashlight ain't working. Turn the flash on here. Look at this. Look. What the... Shit.
Kyle has been living in this house for about a year and a half, and the activity has never stayed in one location. It's moved through every part of his home, from the crawl space, to the attic, to the garage, and now even inside the rooms where he sleeps. He's heard children laughing in empty hallways. He's seen objects shift on their own. Many believe the pattern suggests something intelligent, something that isn't tied to a single spot, but instead travels through the home at will. Others think Kyle might be dealing with more than one presence, but the truth is, no one has been able to pinpoint a clear cause for the escalating activity in Kyle's home, and every new clip only makes the situation more unsettling. In this next clip, a couple unknowingly bought a haunted Airbnb, and from the very first day they settled in, it's been one thing after another. Strange noises echoing through the hallways, objects shifting when no one is near them, cold patches moving from room to room, and every now and then the unmistakable sound of footsteps pacing in the basement even though no one lives below. But the moment that really made them start documenting everything happened on October 23rd at around 6:10 p.m. The wife and their dog Vito were downstairs when they both froze at the same time, hearing something moving in the upstairs portion of the Airbnb. Vito ran ahead up the staircase, but the second he reached the top, he flinched hard at something none of them could see. Watch this.
Vito, come on back, buddy. Come on. Poor buddy.
According to the wife, for weeks now, Vito refuses to go any further than the top of the stairs. And anyone familiar with paranormal cases knows that is never a good sign. Dogs avoid areas that have strong energy signatures, and whatever is upstairs clearly makes him feel unsafe. But you see, while the husband is exhausted, overwhelmed, and constantly on edge from the non-stop disturbances, the wife remains strangely calm. She says it's because this is his first brush with something paranormal, but for her, these things have been happening ever since she lost her mother 10 years ago. She's been on a long spiritual journey since then, visiting mediums, trying different forms of communication, and opening herself to all phases of the paranormal in hopes of feeling her mother's presence again. And that's exactly where a major debate started. Because many people believe this entire haunting might not be tied to the Airbnb at all, but to her. When you open yourself spiritually, especially through mediums, seances, or grief-driven communication, it's widely believed that you also open doors you don't fully understand. And instead of attracting a loved one, you may attract something completely different that simply mimics familiar emotions to get your attention. So now the rumors are beginning to shift away from a haunted Airbnb to a spirit attached to the wife, and the timing lines up disturbingly well. The couple eventually left the Airbnb and moved into a new home, hoping to escape whatever was happening, but it's starting to seem like something followed them there too. Listen closely.
Okay, if you have anything to tell us, we're listening. We heard you. What do you have to say?
She caught this voice on camera as her husband took their dog out for a walk. Some viewers were terrified, urging her not to respond to whatever it was, but according to her, not everything is demonic, and she feels some spirits simply want acknowledgement. She's even taken it upon herself to figure out exactly what's in her home, why it's there, and whether she can help it move on. But here's the part no one can ignore. If this truly began long before the Airbnb, then leaving the house was never going to solve the problem. The attachment might be to her, not the property. Weeks after this video was recorded, the whispering didn't stop. In fact, it became more frequent. Watch this.
So we're open to communication. There's been stuff happening on the property in our other building, and earlier today. So this is the time to talk if you have anything you want to say to us. You're getting tons of orbs.
And it's right where you said, like right here. Are you? Let's see.
Tell us your story. We're open to hear. And we're not judgmental. You can tell us anything.
This time she couldn't clearly make out what it said, so she posted it online. And surprisingly, most viewers heard the same thing. The voice saying Maisie. Every other sound they've caught in that house has been confusing, distorted, or completely unintelligible. But this is the first time a name has come through clearly. Whether Maisie is the entity trying to reach out, a person connected to the wife's past, or something else entirely, they're still trying to figure it out. And they're hoping that one day they'll finally get an answer. Now, in this next video, a hospital worker was assigned to a room that many staff members quietly refer to as the haunted one. Every hospital has that one space, an older room with a heavy history, a place where people feel watched even when they're alone, a place where equipment seems to malfunction more than it should. And for her, this was that room. She said she felt uneasy the moment she stepped inside, so before she began her shift, she decided to test something. She set her camera up in the corner of the room and then walked away for a moment. When she came back to check the footage, this is what she caught. If this had happened in an ordinary house, maybe a bed moving on its own, people might try to explain it away. But this happening in a hospital, that's something people won't overlook. So many souls have groaned, suffered, and passed on in that exact bed. Some believe that the energy of a patient's final moments can cling to the objects around them, and others think someone might still be hanging on to the last moments they spent in this room. And when she shared more details, things only got stranger. This wasn't just any room. It was part of the labor and delivery department, and it was often used for patients in isolation due to severe illness, or patients experiencing IUFD cases where the emotional weight in the room is already overwhelming. She even added that most staff avoid placing anyone here unless they absolutely have to. Some don't even like standing in the doorway for too long. Even after hearing all of this, some people online still doubted the bed moved on its own, so she shared this clip.
Here, I'll plug it. Well, I guess it's plugged over here, but...
The remote was right there on the bed, completely unplugged, not connected to anything. And yet, the bed still lifted and lowered by itself, as if responding to a patient who wasn't physically there anymore. For many viewers who've had their own unsettling experiences in hospitals, this video opened the door for them to share their stories too. The comments were filled with people recalling similar encounters in quiet rooms, empty hallways, or places where life and death intersect every single day. So, if you've ever felt something unexplainable in a hospital, this might be the moment to share your story too. Now, you might recognize this house from previous videos, an old property that once belonged to an elderly couple who passed away, leaving the home completely abandoned for years. A ghost hunter and his crew had been investigating the place for weeks, documenting everything from quiet knocks in the hallway to objects shifting on their own. But on this particular night, they noticed something different, something that felt restless. For the first few hours, everything stayed relatively calm. A curtain swayed, a picture frame tilted, nothing too threatening, just the kind of subtle activity that makes investigators believe a spirit is simply trying to communicate. But that sense of calm didn't last. According to them, the longer they stayed, the more they felt like whatever was in that house had started to grow uncomfortable with their presence. Watch this.
Băi, dăm ciuta. Băi, lasă-vă prostile, nu mai te plimbi. Măi, mă plimb în jurul tău. Dă-mă ciuta, lasă, dă ciuta omului. Te plimbi acum. Băi, mă duc să văd o leacă ce are. Băi, eu intru să... Ce are scris pe ea, poate are scris pe ea 1743, că nebunesc. Da, bule. Băi, oprește-se, iau ciuta aia. N-a futuz nația, măte. Na, dă-l jos. Dă-l jos, futuz rasa, măte, na. Ia că ți-am luat ciuta, uite-o. Alin, cum e măcat așa aia acum? Hai! Na, ciuta, sărăcio, ho, oprește-te! Mâncați-aș pula ta... Doamne ferească Dumnezeu! De la ciută... Na, bă, mă, paranormal. Măi, de la ciută faci așa. Na, mă, ia la spânzuri-te cu ciuta aia, tragă în gura ta. Ai pus-o invers, mai, cu ciuta cu capul încolo, ai pus? A fost scoasă din poză. Ce-o făcut? Da. Am lipit-o și nu se mai poate deslipi. Da, leagă-te la cap cu ea, dar ce nervi așa pe tine, mă, fată? Ai pus ciuta cu capul încolo, băi. Spui acum cine dă. Hai de pula mea. Dar păi noi trebuie să mai râdim ca să nu ne căcăm pe noi. Am uitat să mă uit de subte. Hai că vin! Da, bune, am uitat să mă uit, măi, de... Ia uite, măi, na. Vezi că tu, măi, te poți să faci cât vrei. Dă-i tare, du-te, tragă în gura ta. Nu, în jur, măi, că nu-i iau. Na. Na.
Each time they reached out to pick something up from the table, no matter what it was, the objects began vibrating violently until they dropped them, almost as if the spirit was saying, "Don't touch my things." Still, the investigators didn't leave. They believed the spirit wasn't trying to harm them, only protective, territorial, and clearly aware of everything they were doing. So they decided to do a full sweep of the house, hoping to capture more evidence of what they were dealing with.
Să ne arunce prin grinzele astea, să ne rupă capul și la revedere. N-auziți mărit? Măr! Dă-te, mă, bapula, mă, ăsta, gata, băi, haide, bă, să închidem, să plecăm acasă, mă. Măr. Lasă-mă dracu în pace. Am zis măr, măi, la mișto am zis. Doamne ferească, Dumnezeu. Reptilian, măi, ce ăsta? Tactilograf. Telegraf.
Every room they walked into seemed to respond to them, and the deeper they moved into the house, the more intense the activity became, like the spirit's patience was wearing thin.
Uite, mă, MF-ul ăla nu mai face nimic, nu-ți mai... Măr. Uite, și suntem cu telefonul la 2 metri de el.
Moartea în spectacol.
Ia, moartea în spectacol. Mișcă-la, da, asta o leagă. M-am murit în război. Dă-te MF-ul jos, mă până în jos.
Abandonat.
Că m-au zis de MF că nu se mișcă, că nu s-a prins nicio lumină, l-au dat de tot jos. Măr!
De ce ai venit?
Nu vomite, ce face, mă, frate? Se sugrumă, măi, cum așa face, cred că omul când se spânzură, dar cred că ăsta-i somnul. Eu n-am auzit niciodată.
That moment finally gave them a little more insight. Whoever, or whatever, was still roaming this house belonged to someone who had suffered during the war. Some viewers believe it might be tied to the former homeowner who reportedly lost a loved one overseas. Others think it could be a residual imprint, a fragment of a soldier who once stayed there during troop movements decades ago. But until the team returns with more answers or clearer evidence, the true identity of the spirit still remains a mystery. In the following video, a woman named Kalia opens up about something that has been unsettling her for years. Her 7-year-old daughter claims she sees things no one else can. According to Kalia, it all began when her daughter was just 3 years old. She would point at corners of the road, wave at empty hallways, and describe people walking through their home that no one else could see. Sometimes she mentioned the lady with the blue dress, other times the tall man who stands by the kitchen door at night. Now, her daughter insists she sees Kalia's father, who passed away long before the child was born, moving around their house like he never left. One day, while homesick from school, the little girl made another unsettling statement. Watch.
Who's the man in the picture?
Why? Did you see him?
Yeah, but I saw him upstairs.
You what?
I saw him upstairs.
What was he doing?
Standing here.
He was standing there?
Uh-huh.
He ain't say nothing to you?
Uh-huh.
Did he scare you? Was you scared?
No.
That's right. You don't need to be scared because that's your pap. Maybe he just came to see you. He didn't scare you when you seen him upstairs?
So
Where's he at? He's in heaven.
Oh.
He's in heaven. He died when Mommy was little.
Oh.
Yeah, he's in heaven. Yeah.
That's why he died. Why he done dying from?
Yeah, he was in a car accident.
Car accident?
Did you see him last night or this morning? When did you see him?
I see him in upstairs.
You see the man upstairs when? Last night?
Uh-huh. And he's in heaven.
But you seen him last night?
Yeah, I've seen him last night. So he's dead?
Yeah.
So in your belly.
Okay.
The comment section exploded when she said those final words. In your belly. Some believe she was sensing a pregnancy, possibly even a reincarnation of Kalia's father. Others urged her to look into her family history because children with this kind of sight often inherit it. When Kalia finally did, everything clicked into place. She discovered that her grandmother was born with a veil over her face, a sign many believe marks a child with spiritual sight. Her grandmother reportedly always knew when someone was about to pass, saying she could see angels hovering above their homes in the days before it happened. And now, her own daughter seems to be showing the same signs, a connection across 3 generations, one that both fascinates and terrifies Kalia. But until Kay gives more updates, this one remains completely unsolved. Now, in this next clip, Kyle's crawlspace wakes him up yet again in the middle of the night. He'd been hearing strange noises coming from underneath the house for weeks, but this time it was loud enough to pull him out of bed. When he stepped outside to check, he captured this on camera.
Jesus Christ. I'm opening it. No, just go inside. Go inside. I'm opening it. I'm doing it. Jesus Christ. All right, fucking. Holy shit. Come on. Can't get this damn thing open. What the Oh, shit. Jesus. What the
Look closely. A figure was captured, and according to Kyle, things only got worse after that night. Some people say crawl spaces are hotspots for paranormal activity because of stagnant air, trapped energy, and the forgotten things previous tenants leave behind. Others say renters often seal a crawl space the moment they discover one, covering vents, locking access panels, or even placing salt barriers, just to stop whatever might be hiding underneath from wandering into the main house. But whatever was living under Kyle's home, it didn't seem interested in staying hidden anymore. In this next video, a guy living alone with his cat has been dealing with strange activity around his home. Small things going missing, doors clicking shut on their own, and that uneasy feeling of movement in the room when he's completely still. This time, he finally managed to catch one of those moments on camera. Now, there are two major perspectives people argue about when it comes to clips like this. On one hand, many believe that if something truly paranormal is in the room, the cat would sense it first. They pick up on shifts in air, sound frequencies humans can't hear, and changes in energy. Cats staring at corners, following something invisible with their eyes, or suddenly puffing up are usually taken as signs that something is there. But on the other hand, there's an entire group that argues the opposite. Cats don't always react, especially if the presence is familiar, subtle, or something they've already gotten used to. Some say pets coexist with unseen things in ways humans can't understand, and silence from a cat doesn't always mean nothing is happening. So what do you think? If there really was something in that house, would the cat have reacted? Or is this one of those rare moments where the human caught something the animal didn't? Now, in this next clip, things take a far stranger turn. Lauren Lowe, an animal lover and a mom, was cleaning her daughter's room in broad daylight when she suddenly heard this.
I'm in my daughter's room, and I just heard tapping. Hold on. Like, it sounded like it came from right up here. And there's nothing right above. There's nothing above. There's no floor right above this room. Hold on. So you can see it better. Hold on. Hold on. So there's nothing. It's just my daughter's closet. There's nothing in there. That was so weird. I hope you guys heard that. Seeing weird shit. That was weird. I hope you guys heard that tapping. Okay. Weird.
And here's what makes that sound so unsettling. This house has no attic and no basement. So what's causing the noise? But that was only the beginning. A few nights later, around 10 p.m., her dog started acting strange. Growling, pacing, staring at the door like something was standing right behind it. So Lauren opened the door. Take a look.
What is it? Is there something there? Stay here. What the f is that noise? Go on, take it. Go. What was that? What was that? What was that? Come here, Teddy. Oh my God, what was that noise?
If you watch closely, a figure slips through the kitchen area right behind the lampstand. And with everything she's been experiencing in this house, she's becoming convinced there's someone, or something, living in her home that shouldn't be there. So she finally decided to set up a camera, but while she was trying to set it up, this happened.
Okay, I'm finally gonna go put the camera in because we obviously heard some really weird, strange noises last night. We heard a loud bang. That was Teddy. That was Teddy running up the stairs. You can see him. He's going upstairs with me. Okay. All right. So we're putting this camera inside this room today, which is where I saw the hoof prints, which are still there. As you can see, those hoof prints are there. Everybody wants to say that that is furniture indentions. It's not. Okay, so I'm gonna set the camera right here, facing, maybe right here, facing out. Okay. Oh my God. Jeff? Was that you? What? The door just slammed behind me. Was that you?
Am I upstairs?
Hey, I'm coming back. I'm coming back down. I'm coming back down. I'm coming back down. Yes, the door just slammed on me.
Prints appearing on the carpet, tapping sounds, figures moving through the background, and now the door closing on its own. The activity is escalating fast, and what scares Lauren the most is that her husband isn't bothered at all. He's lived with lions and tigers, so a random footprint on the carpet doesn't even bother him. But let's see how long that confidence lasts, because when things get intense, it's hard to ignore. So what do you think is in their house? A spirit, a trespasser, or something else entirely? This next clip was captured by a home camera, and the wife, Annalisa, is completely shaken by what she found. Have a look. In the first recording, it almost looks like a figure casually walking. Then, in the second clip, a voice whispers, "Eric." And this happens barely 2 minutes after her husband, Eric, left for work. People often say that when you hear your name, especially when you're alone, it can mean a few different things. Some believe it's a spirit trying to get your attention. Others say it's a form of mimicry, the kind associated with entities that repeat familiar voices to draw people in. And then there's the psychological angle, that your mind sometimes fills silence with something it expects to hear, but that doesn't quite explain a voice captured on camera. So what do you think this is? A coincidence, a call, or something that knows Eric's name a little too well? In this next video, a mother named Monique put together a compilation of the strange things that have been happening inside her home. And the weirdest part? There's a pattern. Every single incident seems to involve only her baby's belongings. Nothing else in the house ever moves, shifts, or falls. Just the baby's things. And for some reason, Monique is convinced it's her grandmother trying to make her presence known. Watch this. At first glance, your mind might jump straight to gravity or maybe vibrations from someone walking, but once you see the baby's bouncy chair start moving and the piano move, that explanation becomes harder and harder to hold on to. But here's why Monique believes it's her grandmother. Before she passed, her grandmother was obsessed with the idea of protecting every new baby born into the family. She'd always say they arrived with angels still holding on to them. She also used to buy musical toys for every grandchild, saying music kept children safe. And the day Monique brought her baby home, she swears she felt her grandmother's perfume, the exact scent, near the crib. So now, seeing only the baby's toys activate quietly, gently, almost like someone playing with the child from the other side, she can't help but feel it's her grandmother checking in. But if it's not her grandma or a friendly spirit, many people have already advised Monique to sage the house, open every window, and let whatever energy is inside leave. But will this really help or make the situation worse? I'll leave it to you to decide. Now, in this next clip, the popular ghost hunter Ian continues his late-night exploration deep in the Minnesota woods. Heading straight for an isolated cemetery locals whisper about endlessly. It's a place people avoid after dark, and at the center of it sits something even darker. A grave the town calls the Glowing Grave. From the previous clip we posted, the fence surrounding the grave rattled on its own. But instead of leaving, Ian pushed deeper. He wanted answers. He wanted to know who or what was trying to get his attention. So he attempted to communicate with whatever spirit was tied to that grave.
Let's say, Nanny? Is your name Nanny? Whoa. Okay. I take that as a yes. Thank you. I take it you're a female. Oh my gosh. Wait a minute. Does that say what I think it says? 5 years old? Oh my god. I'm so sorry. That is so tragic. I'm sorry. Maybe that's why you come off so playful. My name is Ian, and I'd just like to be your friend. Is there anybody else that's buried here? Whoa, I just heard your voice. Could you say it once more? Dude, oh my god, I just heard you again!
Moments later, Ian discovered that there weren't just one, but two spirits said to haunt this burial spot. Nanny Bickle, who passed away at age 5, and Ida Bickle, who passed at 7. Curious and uneasy, he pulled out his camera to take a picture, and that's when everything became real.
So much awesome activity over here. Whoa! Whoa. Oh my god, those are moving. Would you like your picture taken? Pose for the photo. Could you smile? Alright, I'm gonna count to 3, okay? And I want you to pose for this photo. 1, 2, 3.
If you look closely at this photo, 2 misty figures appear to be standing at the grave. 2 small hazy silhouettes shaped like little girls, both staring directly into the camera from the darkness. Their outlines look almost like children caught between worlds, watching Ian as if they'd been waiting for someone to finally see them. For Ian, this was the proof he needed, that he wasn't alone out there.